Your growth plates. Yes, you hear that a lot, particularly when it comes to kids and kids' development into adults. And regarding exercise and whether kids should do strength training, that's going to upset their growth plates and they're going to stunt their growth, and before you know it, they'll be only 3 foot walking around at age 20. You hear all these dramatic things, but let's have a closer look at what a growth plate is, or sometimes also referred to in a scientific point of view, your epiphyseal plate or epiphyseal line. So look at the journey of bone. So all bone when you're a baby is cartilage, hyaline cartilage. And over time, that cartilage, through the process of ossification, transforms into mature bone. So if you look at the humerus here, our very humerus, the humerus, as you know, is a long bone. It has two ends, which are thickened ends, and then it has a shaft in the middle. So this end is your distal end, this end is your proximal end. Now, when it comes to a child, this whole bone is cartilage, and there's 2 points of ossification. One is in the center of the shaft. This is called your diaphysis. And the other is at the ends, or the thickened ends, or the extremities. This end here is called your epiphysis. So this is your proximal epiphysis, and this is your distal epiphysis, and this is your diaphysis. And what happens is the cartilage, through the process of ossification, transforms into mature bone. So it starts at the shaft and goes out to the ends, and it starts at the end and comes more towards the shaft. So over time this will turn into mature bone, but they join, these 2 points of ossification are joined at the ends, forming a line, an epiphyseal line. So you basically end up with mature bone in the shaft, mature bone in the thickened ends, and then you have this adjoining line or growth plate called your epiphyseal plate. So technically speaking, the humerus is 3 bones, your diaphysis and your 2 epiphysis, but they're joined by a cartilaginous joint, which is the cartilage, which is your epiphyseal plate. Now, as a child, this plate obviously is more cartilage, and cartilage is a bit more flexible and durable, where bone is more rigid and tense. So obviously there's a potential to disrupt the growth plate if you put large amounts of force or impact forces through that joint. Now just remember, doing a controlled strength training program where the load is controlled and is progressive with good form and good technique, then that's not going to provide enough stress or impact or uncontrollable stress to disrupt the growth plate. You're more likely to get disruption of the growth plate by playing a sport which is uncontrollable with high impact forces, such as playing rugby league and stuff like that. And even then, there's not a lot of, say, factual evidence that you get any major dysfunction with the growth plate. So for children in strength training, it's really good to do controlled strength training under supervision, according to the guidelines for training children, and make the load progressive. That's going to be really good in their muscular and skeletal development, but not to mention their own self-confidence as well. So when you hear people say growth plate, this is what they're referring to. At the distal ends of a long bone, the distal and the proximal end, your epiphyseal plate, and obviously you have growth plates in other bones as well, but this is the obvious one to show, and that would be no cow poo.